So like you might expect, I just want to say thank you to all of you who are here today to take some time out of your work day to join us for this event. Great to have everybody here, all these smiling faces, it's really good. So I am Gil Matthew. I am the Executive Director for the Nevada County Economic Resource Council, and on behalf of our Board of Directors of the NCERC, I just want to say welcome to the Economic Summit 2023. So we have a big day planned, and of course, out of it doesn't happen without the assistance of a lot of people like this. So you've seen who our sponsors are, of course, and without their assistance, this wouldn't happen. I would encourage you to consider supporting them and our sponsors, saying thank you as you're doing business here in Nevada County. And that lead sponsor is Dignity Health, Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital. Now, I don't suggest that you visit them, but if you did have to visit them, I can assure you that you would get world-class health care from a team of dedicated professionals led by Dr. Scott Neely. So thank you for your support. And significant assistance has come from the County of Nevada and the Sierra Business Council. These two great partners with the NCERC on this, the summit, and on many other economic activities in the community. So we thank them for their support today also. And then Sierra College, the Nevada County campus, Dr. Karen O'Hara and her team are always ready to listen, learn, and support education. And this perfectly fits with their mission. The work of the NCERC is always supported year-round by the Nevada County Association of Realtors. We have the privilege of being co-located with them up on Crown Point Circle. So thanks to them, their board president, Steve Medina, and their executive director, Kathy Hinman, for their support all these years. So if you got a bite to eat over here, and there's plenty left, I want you to say thanks to Owens Estate and Wealth Strategies Group. They graciously provided this for us today. And the wonderful contribution of wine, get to say thanks to Montolivo Vineyards and Winery, a Chicago Park thriving business. So stop by and pick up a case or two. And if you had a beer, say thanks to Grass Valley Brewing that supplied that. And you can stop by 141 East Main Street after the program and enjoy another glass. They would love it, and so would we. And the Holbrook Hotel said, you can't bring a nationally known economist 3,000 miles and have him sleep on your couch, Gil. So they have provided lodging for our guest speaker today. And Acme Hospitality that owns the Holbrook, we thank you for their support in this and several other things. And tonight, when the dust settles and all the revelers all go home, WM, or as we know them, Waste Management, will still be here cleaning up. They helped us with the setup. They helped us with the capital to make this event happen, and they'll be here for the cleanup. So thank you for WM for what they do. So moving right along, any of you that were here with us last year can remember that we did something called Snapshots, and we're going to do it again this year, featuring some of Nevada County businesses and asking that question of how and why. So I would like to invite the three representatives of this year's spotlights to the stage as I introduce them. So the three of you could come up. Starting off with Mr. Doug Wright, president of Mountain Hardware and Sports. This is a trucky business that is known far beyond its geographical footprint because it's an outstanding service, because it's an employee-owned company. Mr. Bob Zuka of Weiss Landscaping. That old Nevada County name has now sprouted new growth. Bob, come on up. And Owens Estate and Wealth Strategies Group, is led by Sonia Jenkins. Sonia, come on up. Working with a wonderful group of our guys. And go ahead, have a seat. I'll only be another hour. And while they're getting seated here, I would like to introduce you to Evan Schmidt, the Executive Director of Valley Vision, who will be our moderator this afternoon. I'd like you to hear a quote that she made. She said, "I am fueled by the desire to be of service to others and to recognize the humanity in all people." And I know this to be true. I met Evan about a year ago, and I've worked closely with her since that time, and I can tell you that that statement is absolutely true. Now, it's just not enough to have a master's degree. She happens to have two. She has a master's in community development and a master's of arts in geography from both the University of California, Davis. That is after she completed a BA in Kansas. She's not in Kansas anymore. Evan joined Valley Vision in 2014 and became the CEO on July 1st, 2020. Evan has a long record of success developing community-inspired solutions across Valley Vision's many initiatives, including leading Valley Vision's research such as regional polling and future of work, supporting Valley Vision's impact areas, advocating prosperity, equity, sustainability, and leading strategies and evaluation efforts across the organization. We are pleased to have Evan leading this discussion. Please welcome Evan Schmidt.
Thank you so much, Gil, for that very kind introduction. And it's been such a pleasure getting to know you in the last year and establishing a partnership with the Nevada County Economic Resource Council. So just absolutely delighted to be here this afternoon and thrilled to be here with all of you too, kind of embarking on this important conversation. And I'm really excited to be a part of this particular panel on snapshots in business from the community. You know, my job at Valley Vision really is to help to create the conditions that help communities thrive and to help support quality of life across our whole kind of Northern California capital region. So Valley Vision, we're a nonprofit. We're located in Sacramento, but we work across many counties around advancing economic prosperity, social equity, and environmental sustainability. And that topic around quality of life and around thriving communities is something that we live in every day. And I know that it takes really everybody in this room, you know, stakeholders from across our communities to make that happen in a lot of different roles. And an incredibly important part of that ecosystem is our businesses. You know, it's in terms of their roles as employers, as innovators in our community, and as that catalyst of vibrancy that really helps deliver quality of life essentials for everybody in our community. And so to have this conversation with these three, which I'm really excited to get into, learning a little bit more about their challenges, the secret to their success, and other thoughts that they have about doing business here in Nevada County, I think is such an important part of the big picture of supporting this county and supporting the communities that you all live in. So with that, I want to get right to it and get into our conversation. And I'm going to start with an opening question for all of you, and I'll invite you to say a little bit more about yourself, and then to jump right into the question. So, from your perspective, what is great about the conditions of Nevada County when it comes to running a business, and then what's a little bit challenging? And I'll start with you, Bob.
Well, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. I would just say all of us in this room know we have an incredible community. Nevada County, what a great place to live. We can recreate here. We can raise our children here. You know, we have a pretty large selection of schools for our children. You know, we get to make those choices. And I feel like there's just such an incredible opportunity in Nevada County to be in business. And I'm really thankful to be a part of the business community. We've had such an influx of people over the last 4 decades that I've been in business. And they come from all over the state. And most of the people in the 90s and early 2000s came and retired here. And what we've seen over the last 5 years is, in our little neighborhood, we have 3 new families with young children. And they're semi-working remotely, and it's created a whole nother opportunity for businesses. And when I think of Nevada County, I think of us as the Carmel of the foothills. Really, I do. People come here, they come here and spend the weekend. They come here and fall in love with our community. They buy homes here. They benefit all of our businesses. And so, and I want to say one other thing. I've given this quite a bit of thought. We have an incredible city and county government that actually works. The city and county government work with all the businesses in this area. And, we live in probably the most regulated state in the nation. Maybe not, but pretty close. And our county and city government, they use common sense. They use common sense to help businesses solve the problems. They allow businesses to come to the table to give their perspective. And I just want to say, from our business, we are very, very appreciative of the city and county government.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bob. You're getting the crowd warmed up, too. I love that. Sonia, how about you?
Well, I think Bob really covered it very succinctly. It's incredible to own a business in Nevada County. Being someone who was born and raised here and following the footsteps of my parents who owned a business here in Nevada County and my grandparents who owned businesses here in Nevada County, it is a really amazing way for us to stay living in this community that we grew up in and to be able to employ other individuals who have maybe also grown up here in Nevada County. We really have a very unique location, and it's such, I think that the small community component is one of the best things for a small business, is that there is usually 6 degrees of separation from someone that can help you in your business in any facet. And if you're connected within your community, you have the ability to seek out those and not operate your business completely on your own. So I love the community part of Nevada County that supports our small businesses. I love that our local governments are so supportive of our small businesses and keeping our small businesses thriving. I think it's one of the best things that help us be successful here.
All right, fantastic. All right, Doug, how about you?
I agree with Bob and Sonia. I think that we live in such a beautiful place, representing the east side of the county up here. Between Tahoe and the reservoirs and the forests, and it's just beautiful. And it's been more difficult for us as businesses to retain staff. Housing prices have gone up. There's been a lot of things that are a factor that we're all challenged with. But as an employee-owned company, we're kind of blessed with the idea that our employees have an ownership stake as well, and it gives them a little bit of a leg up. We do have a great county government. We have good town governments or city governments, and we've had this influx of people that are fairly affluent. There's some negatives with that, but there's some positives, and so we benefit from that as well.
Awesome, thank you. And I know all of you have really unique stories to tell about your businesses, and you all have really different types of work that you're doing. So I want to dig into your particular stories a little bit more. And Doug, I'm going to start with you. You mentioned that your company is employee-owned. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Why did you go in that direction? What are some pros and cons, and what's that like?
We started in 1977 with 3 founders that really came up to Truckee to ski, and found themselves in a position to buy a hardware store. And it wasn't very big, and 2 of them worked in it 6 days a week, and the other one painted. And then he worked the 7th day, and the other 2 didn't. And they could always ski. One of them would work, one of them would ski. They'd take turns. But as the business grew, as they got a little bit older, they didn't have any succession plans. So their options were to sell it and pay a business broker and pay capital gains, or one of their advisors turned them on to an employee ownership plan. And so they made the decision to sell their company to a trust for the sole benefit of the employees. And that's what happened. It was in 2001. And we became 100% employee-owned in 2013. And it's really been a great benefit. It's a beneficial ownership, so the trust actually holds the shares. But, you know, I think we have 41 people that have account balances of $150,000 or more dollars. And it's all sweat equity. They didn't put any money in. The company makes a contribution to the trust, and the trust buys the company. So it's been incredible for that, and it's allowed us to retain employees at a much greater rate. It doesn't help if you're a 20-year-old who trades your health insurance for beer money. But when you get to be 35 or so, and you're starting to see thousands of dollars rack up in there in this retirement plan, it matters to them. So it's been a great benefit for us.
That's great. Thank you. Sonia, I'm going to go over to you. I know that with your role with estate and wealth strategy, that you work with a lot of high-income individuals or high-net-worth individuals here in the county. And I know you all have already talked about that assets that we have here around natural beauty and maybe mobility and other things that have brought people to Nevada County. Kind of, what are some of the considerations that you see your clients dealing with? What are some of the key issues, and what does that look like for you?
I think, while we work with high net worth individuals, our client base really runs the gamut. And I would say in this point in time, the key issues that are facing most of our clients are pretty across the board, regardless of their overall net worth. And so, a lot of them are kind of sitting in this transition period where maybe they're just a few years to retirement, they have recently retired, or they're in their retirement years. And we're in our first sustained pullback from the market in the last 14 years, and so that really has an impact on our clients' lifestyles, or on the amount of worrying that they do about their lifestyle. And so it's our job to mitigate that, to work with them to try to make sure that we've planned well. Regardless of where you sit in your net worth statement, we really try to come alongside our clients and focus on financial planning so that when we enter periods like this where our homeowners insurance is kind of an unknown every year, we don't know what that's going to look like, or inflation continues to be an unknown, and our market returns are not what they've been for the last few years, and how is that going to impact my ability to have a robust retirement? What do I do now that the whole world seems a little bit different or a little bit more precarious than it did 6 months ago? And so we really try to focus on proactively addressing those worries before they come into the real picture, so that we can step back and go, so remember that financial plan that I begged you to do, and I kept hounding you to do the work so that we could do the work for you. Well, here's why we did it. Let's take a look at where the world sits in this current environment. And so when you look at what key issues are impacting our client base, well, it's just, how am I going to afford to live in this beautiful place in this current economic environment? And I have incredible people that I get to work with who run the gamut in their knowledge areas, and we really like to put our heads together and sit down with clients holistically and talk to them about it and say, what worries you most? What keeps you up at night? And then we bring to the table ideas for maybe putting that worry to bed, or how do you work around it, or what modifications do we make so that it doesn't feel so big? And I have an incredible team that really helps people work through that so that they get to continue living in this beautiful place and loving their lifestyle regardless of what the world is doing around them.
Awesome, thank you. And one curiosity I have is an impression that over the last couple years, as remote work has become more ubiquitous, that Nevada County is one of those places that people want to move, and maybe you're getting an influx from Bay Area or other places. Have you seen that in your work, and does that change, kind of your clientele base, or how do you see that changing some of the work that you're doing?
Well, I think, like with my staff remote work, We all did it for a little while, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes out of desire. And we found that, hey, you know what? We still function if we're not all sitting inside our four walls, but none of us really like it. We like being in the office. So from our own functionality standpoint, we figured out that we're very maneuverable. We can work from anywhere, which is great. We found that technology is fantastic for client relationships. I have clients that I have never seen in person, and I've been working with them for 15 years, and suddenly Zoom becomes a thing, and it's like, oh, that's what you look like. Wow, totally different than I thought. And then you look at, as people move up here and take on roles where they are able to work remotely, but their job base is elsewhere. Well, it helps us get to kind of diversify our pool of connections, and I think it's pretty fantastic. I think our schools are benefiting from it. We've got an increase in enrollment because younger families have moved up here, and we like it as younger families living here because it diversifies our pool of people that we can connect with. And overall, I think that it's been a pretty great improvement to the work-life balance.
That's great, and I agree. I think that remote work has brought a lot more flexibility, although it is always special and great to be in person like we are here. And if we were remote on a Zoom meeting right now, we would not know that Doug and Bob are wearing the same shoes.
There you have it.
We'd have no idea.
We called each other.
Yeah, I know. I just felt like I had to point that out, and that was the opening that I was looking for, just to get right in there.
Maybe I touched the ground.
All right, Bob, you work in the service industry business. Would love to hear about what some of your key issues are right now and how you're dealing with them, and some thoughts that I have maybe are around labor, turnover, those sorts of challenges that you might be facing and how you're navigating that.
Well, there's three of us at Weiss Landscaping as owners, Adam, Brian, and myself. And what keeps us up at night, and believe it or not, are not sales or management or those issues. Our number one issue is keeping our employees working every single day in the service industry in Nevada County. That is our number one goal as a company. And we've talked about it. If you were an alien up in space and you were looking down at Adam, Bob, and Brian, and you were trying to figure out what kind of business they were in, they'd tell you they're in the trying to keep their guys busy business. So what we've had to do over the last many years is we've had to diversify. We live in an awesome place like we've already talked about, but we've had to really spread a wide net. We're concrete contractors, we're landscape contractors, we do design work, we do service and repair. We do small jobs. We'll go do a service job for $200, and when we're working on multi-$100,000 projects. You just have to really diversify in our county to be successful. And Adam and Brian and I have talked about this often, and we feel like we've really tried to model our company, Weiss Landscaping, after two other companies in this town, Robinson Enterprises and Hanson Brothers Enterprises, because they both of those companies have cast a wide net. And when you cast a wide net in a small community, you affect so many people in a positive way. And you see that every single day. Another thing I want to mention is about 7 years ago, Jeff Hansen and I started to think about the construction industry and what it was going to look like 15, 20 years from now back then. And they say that in the construction industry currently in California in 10 years, 50% of the contractors will be retired and out of business, meaning just from retirement. So where are our workers going to come from? Where are these businesses going to come from? So we started working 7 years ago with the high school district, and we tried to partner with them, and we had to learn about the bureaucracy. They're awesome people, but it's not as easy as go in and get things done. So we've worked really hard on that, and in the last 3 or 4 years, the high school district now has a construction trades program with over 100 students in it, and we've worked hard. The Nevada County Contractors Association, who we're all members of, worked hard on that and coming together with the high school district and the Contractors Association. 2 weeks ago, we had this incredible event at the fairgrounds called Trades Day. It's the first one. We're going to have one every year, where the students, hundreds of students came, and they got to see exhibits with contractors, hands-on. We're trying to give the students in the community, we want them to stay here and work. You know, the construction industry has high-paying jobs, skilled jobs, and we have, contractors in this town who want to mentor. So it's been a really a great experience kind of working with the youth. We're going to continue to do it. And I encourage all business owners to do the same. You know, I think about the restaurant business in our community, and they're always struggling for employees. Well, the high school has an incredible culinary arts, career tech, CTE part at the high school. I mean, the restaurants could intern some of these students, and it's amazing. We have such an opportunity in this community to reach out to the young people. So that's that.
Yeah, that's great. And it's great to kind of get creative and really reach into our schools and our youth when you're thinking about how to build that pipeline. And I know that the retirement turnover is impacting a lot of different industries right now. And thinking about issues of employee retention, Doug, I was thinking about while you were talking as well, your model of employee-owned. How does that change the picture of retention for you, or how do you think about that?
You know, I think the benefit is there's a lot of ESOPs that don't really drive the employee ownership piece, and we always did that. So our employees have more autonomy, which makes them, they are more involved, so they feel more involved. I think that when the profits of the company, we don't have a single shareholder. We have 120 or 130 shareholders. And so when those profits are distributed to them, they can see the fruit of their labor. As an ESOP, we have to be valued annually by a third-party valuation firm. And so when they see their share price go up and they see their assets growing, all those things matter. They have skin in the game. But it isn't a magic bullet. We're teaching and promoting and talking about it all the time and celebrating the fact that we're employee-owned. And again, when you get to the younger people today, it becomes a lot more difficult because it's not really promoted in school, and you've got to be forward-thinking to recognize the ESOP for what it is. We're very benefit-rich. We have gold California ski passes that our employees can use so they can ski for free. We have a 401k, a safe harbor, so they're getting their contributions matched to a level. And all those things are really, really important, especially as employees get older. But the biggest thing is just making it a place that's fun to work, making it a place that you feel proud to be at. And that's what we strive to do. It's not magic, and it's not easy, and it's gotten harder in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, but we can't let up. It's our company.
That's great. And that opens the door to my next topic, really, which is no matter what your business model is, you've got to create a positive team culture, and you've got to be a place where people want to be. So Sonia, what are your thoughts on that? How have you created a really great team culture?
We, every Friday, we close the office an hour early, and we spend a little time together. We all sit upstairs. Mary Owens, the founder of our company, she started this when we opened the company back in December of 2008, that, every Friday we're gonna take an hour and we're just gonna hang out together, because during the week, you're so busy that you don't really get to have personal connections. So we spend that time Fridays just hanging out and getting to check in with one another, trying to ask a better question than, so what are your plans this weekend? I mean, that always gets asked, but we really try to take that time to connect with each other on a more personal level. We spend time volunteering in the community together. We have events where we're working, either raising money for Interfaith Food Ministries or spending the day delivering meals for them. We find that ability to give back as a team is very beneficial. And then we really like to try to highlight each of our staff members as an individual on their birthday. I mean, it's silly little things, but I think all of those little things add up to try to make sure that as we grow and get bigger, that our team still feels very small, that it's very intimate, very connected. And it's not bulletproof, like you said. Sometimes life happens and people choose to move on for whatever reason. And we really try to keep in touch with them in the community after they're gone. It's important to us that we continue to foster those relationships no matter where life takes our staff members. So it's a daily endeavor, I would say, and I don't think every employer is perfect at it, but just spending time investing in your team. And they have like the 3-minute manager where you can try and spend 3 minutes with people every day. We just do it all at once on Fridays and have a really good time about it. But just that personal connection, I think, is really important.
That's great. Bob, how about you?
So we're just blessed. We have incredible employees. I'm so thankful in our tiny little community that we have all the assets that we do. I have 6 or 7 individuals that have been with me for over 20 years, and 85% of our staff have been 5 years or longer. I think that Adam and Brian and I work really hard to not put a square peg in a round hole. We treat each employee as an individual. We know that everyone brings something different to the table. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. We've all heard this. At Weiss Landscaping, we focus on a person's strengths. We do not worry about their weakness. We focus on their strengths. There's plenty of us to help with the weaknesses. There are employees that we have that are 10 times as good at certain things than I am, and I'm one of the owners. No problem. So they're going to help me, and I'm going to help them. So that is how we do it, and I think it's really, really important that we focus on people's strengths.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. We've talked a little bit about talent and about both retention and kind of creating that positive culture. What about channels for your business? Like if you're looking to create, to reach new audiences, kind of do the outreach that you need to be successful, where do you go? Kind of what kind of channels do you pursue to be able to do that? And I'll let anybody who has an initial thought about that jump in.
I'll jump in. It used to be print advertising in our business was what you did, right? You'd get flyers in the mail, and if you went to the post office, a garbage can was always full of your flyers. It felt great. Now there's a lot of social media, and having a team that's dedicated to marketing is really, really important. The other thing is living in small communities like we do, or smaller communities like we do, you've got to be able to give back, whether it's delivering food, sponsoring events, and that's one of the things that we do. And going back to kind of employees and their involvement, and they can bring forward places that they think we ought to donate to. And so, our donation budget is big for a little company. We give away $150,000 a year typically. And it comes from all different places. Like you say, sometimes it's somebody soliciting us. Sometimes it's one of our associates coming and saying, hey, I think we need to support this. But I think that the community hears all that. We don't advertise that, hey, we gave away this to this. We don't do that. But if you see your logo on their flyers or those kind of things, they recognize the level of your involvement in the community. And it is our community, much like it's our business. We have to do that.
And I would say we do similar. We don't do a lot of advertising. Our biggest advertisers are our clients. If we do well by our clients and they say good things about us, well, then someone else might give us a call and give us the opportunity to do well by them. but also any advertising that we generally do is in the form of community sponsorships, because we feel like the best thing we can do is give back to our community, whether it's through sponsoring Little League or events like this. All of that matters. And if it results in new business, that's amazing. And if it doesn't, we're really happy that we got to support a really amazing cause, no matter which one it is that we choose to do.
And I would just say the same. It's just giving back, giving back to the community that we live in. And I would say, when you're in business and you're getting so much from the community, you're giving back. With employees, it's really similar. We just don't advertise for employee positions because they just come to us, and I think that makes a really big difference. You have a ton of employees, correct? So, I mean, if you just work with the employees you already have, you come up with some real winners. So I think that's what we've done.
Yeah, fantastic. I want to pull on a couple threads that we've talked about a little bit, but I want to go a little bit deeper. One of those was talking about trends that have changed around remote work or people, kind of increased mobility. More generally, there has been a lot of stuff going on in the last couple of years. What kind of new trends are you seeing, and how are you adapting to those in your business? Anything come to mind in terms of differences in the last few years that you've had to adapt to?
For us, just the remote workers and getting used to a clientele that's 15 years younger than me. It's never, that's never happened. So the influx from the Bay Area, most of it's from the Bay Area, and it's significant. Like I said, the three new families, actually 2 of them are from the Bay Area. One is a local family, and just having to really, we all, not everybody, but most people use Google, and so, in our business now, our clients know more than we do, which is fine. You just have to get used to that. Working with a younger crowd has been really different. Yeah. It's been actually exciting. You've learned a lot. We have to rely on technology in the landscape business more than we ever thought we would have to. And if we were in Sacramento or Reno or the Bay Area, we would have already been doing that. But up here, it hasn't been it hasn't been a necessity, and now it's becoming that. So that's really changed. That's changed our business a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. As a boss, I've noticed that I keep getting older, but the employees pretty much stay the same age. Always brings about new challenges and new breath, new life too, which is great. How about Doug or Sonia? What thoughts do you have about that?
Not to be a negative Nelly, but one of the biggest trend changes that we've seen in our industry is with fraud. Fraud has been a huge uptick in our industry, and seeing a lot of trends and having an older client base being more susceptible to that. So it's been one of our core components to really be proactive, and how do we protect our clients from fraud? How do we educate them on what the current trends are? How do we let them know what to expect from us if something comes into the picture that is not what it was expected to be? So we've put out a lot of communications to our clients of like, hey, if you call and you ask for money, please don't be offended. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna call you right back on a known number. Just those different things. So that's been the biggest thing I think in our industry that we've focused on, is just protecting our clients from adverse circumstances that are beyond what we would have maybe experienced 5 years ago.
Yeah, thank you.
And I would say for us, it's technology's changed a lot. So everything from buying online, picking up at the store, to how people apply for jobs, to how you reach your customer. I think that's the biggest. The other trend is, the world's changed, and so we're brick and mortar retailers, and we're open from one period to another, but trying to have the flexibility for our staff, and you just have to. This is the new normal. So trying to work their hours out that fit their schedule and cover our needs. Those are the biggest ones I think that we face.
Yeah, great. All of those really super relevant and thought-provoking. All right, if there are people in Nevada County who would like to start a business or grow a business, what kind of advice do you have for them? And anybody who would like to jump in on that, please do.
I would say it's interesting to think about because I haven't thought about it in a lot of years. But I think if I had to give advice to someone who was starting a business, I would say the absolute number one most important thing is to establish a local bank relationship day one. I would say that's absolutely number one. Because when you first get in business, you don't think you need banking help. You don't really know where your business is going to go, or you think you do. And then when you go to the bank and you need a line of credit or you need something, they say, oh, well, you need 3 years of financials and you need this, that, and the other. And I think when you're first getting in business, you just don't know that. So, mentoring several young business owners, that's been number one. Number two, I think you have to get involved in your community. Everyone here knows that. You have to give back. We've talked about that. We have so many nonprofits in our area. It's so easy to do, give back to the community. The third thing I would say is I really think as a business owner, you have to have a peer group, a trade organization. Like contractors, we have the Nevada County Contractors Association. It's awesome, 350 members. And if you don't have a trade organization or a peer organization, join Rotary. You're going to be with some people are retired, but a lot of business owners. You need to be connected in the community with a peer group, so you're not out there doing it alone.
Absolutely, great advice.
Yeah. And I would second that. I think don't do it in a vacuum. And especially here in Nevada County, I mean, look at all the faces out here. These are people who are movers and shakers, and any one of them has an expertise that you can learn something from, regardless of what type of a business you're going to start. It's the community, I think, is the most important thing that will make a business successful. Is if you are in your community, you will do so much better than if you try to just shoulder it on your own, put your head down, and nose to the grindstone. Community is what makes ultimately life and business a successful endeavor.
And I guess I agree with both Bob and Sonia. The last thing I would say is, as a business, you earn the right to be that business every day, and sometimes the wages are pretty bleak. You've got to give of yourself, and you've got to be committed. And the more successful you get, the harder you work. And so you've got to recognize that going in. There are no layups anymore. It's just a lot of hard work. But if you give of yourself and you recognize that your employees are by far your most valuable resource, you got to fight and shot.
Yeah. I'm going to go a little off script with this question, so I hope I'm not going to throw you off. But we are at an economic summit, and really thinking about it's kind of an opportunity to look around the corner and be aspirational and think about where are we going as a county and what do we really hope for. So that's kind of my question for you. If you think about the next 5-10 years, what do you hope for Nevada County or for your specific community? And again, I'll let anybody who's ready jump right in.
I just would really hope that no matter where life takes Nevada County, we always stay unique. I love, the Carmel of the foothills. It's what makes Nevada County so special, and I hope that we never lose that. I'm all for progressive growth, but I love what we have here, and so being able to find a way to be successful and contain our uniqueness would be amazing.
I would say for me, everyone beats to a different drum, a lot of different perspectives in our community. I just would hope over the next 10 or 15 years that all of us, everyone in this room, can find common ground, that we can find common ground. There are things that we agree with about our community and what makes our community great. And I really think, I look across out here, and I know lots of you, and I've spent lots of time with lots of you, and we're all different. We all have different beliefs and perspectives, but we find common ground with each other, and it's awesome. And I think that's what's going to make this That's what's going to make this community grow and prosper into the future.
And I agree with Bob. I think the biggest challenge we have is us division kind of through selfishness, for lack of a better term. If we understand that this is where we live and we want to be comfortable where we live, we want to feel good going to the market or to the restaurant or whatever and seeing friends, we've got to be nice to each other. We don't always have to agree, but it doesn't mean I have to hate you. It just means we don't agree. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we face.
All right. Last question. This is lightning round question. And Sonia, you said it. These are the movers and the shakers of Nevada County. You all are representing, the business community. So for the people in this room, what's your ask of them to support your specific business or the business community in general?
I'll jump on it. I think that, in our communities, you can buy everything we sell anywhere. You can use landscapers from Sacramento or from Auburn but if you do business locally, then you're supporting the employees that work at the business, you're supporting the founder, and you're supporting the success of your community. And so I think that's my ask is look around. I don't know a lot of you because I'm from the east side of the county, but support each other, do business with each other, be fair with each other, and you'll make your community prosper.
I would totally agree with that, and I do a lot of the commercial part of our company, and it's really great to see these big projects going on in western Nevada County and eastern as well, but to see local contractors working on decent-sized projects. And I don't know that the general public really realizes what that means when a construction company does a multi-million-dollar project and you are paying your employees and you're building your houses and you're buying things in this town. I mean, it's just, the money just circulates, and we all prosper from that. And I just really encourage, and this comes back to the city and county governments and us all working together on how to make that happen. And I actually think we're really good at it. I do.
Great.
And I would just say, keep doing things like this. These types of events where you get to, for me, get out of the office and see other people and make connections. These are the things that will keep my generation engaged, because that's our biggest challenge, right? Is that all of the movers and the shakers, my parents are one of them, they retired and they moved on. And so, if we keep doing events like this, we'll have the ability to keep growing our community with the younger generations and keep that uniqueness that we have and that connectedness, because I think it's really wonderful.
Awesome. What a fantastic place to end our session. Let's give it up for these panelists.